Sunrise over vines we treasure, grapes in rows, they dance with pleasure.
All right, so are you ready for this?
Always.
Okay, great. Because today we're diving into this property, Cool Valley Vineyard Estate, and I think you're going to love it.
Sounds intriguing.
It really is. And we've got all the goods to really get into it. Listings, county records, even some phone calls.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so what's the story here?
Well, we're talking Italian villa, Southern California living, and get this, a whole vineyard.
I'm kind of curious why he'd sell this place.
That is interesting, isn't it? And maybe we can figure that out as we go along. But first, let's set the scene. 6.7 acres in Valley Center, California.
Valley Center.
Yeah, and it says it's got unparalleled tranquility with views of these rolling hills, Palomar Mountain. I mean, come on.
That does sound peaceful. And Valley Center's got that rural charm, but still close to San Diego. I bet that's a big draw.
Yeah, the best of both worlds. Okay, so now you're driving up this winding driveway, and you see this Italian villa.
Oh.
Over 4,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, travertine floors, those high ceilings.
It's fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the listing, it goes on and on about all these details. Like, it even has alabaster sconces. I mean, they thought of everything. It's all super high-end.
It makes you wonder why that Italian style. Maybe they were going for that Tuscan vibe. Could be a selling point for the right buyer.
Oh, for sure. And there's even a private movie room, plus a sound system for the whole house.
This is sounding less like a house and more like a resort.
Totally.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're not staying inside because remember, California, there's this amazing backyard.
Okay, I'm listening. What's out there?
So there's an infinity pool, obviously, and then a spa, and wait for it, a steam room.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely more than just a backyard. That's like your own personal spa.
It really is. And perfect for, year-round enjoyment. Don't forget the BBQ area, too.
California living at its finest. You can just imagine all the parties.
Exactly. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for me, the vineyard.
Now we're talking.
Tell me about these Grenache and Grenache Blanc vines. Like, what's the deal?
Okay, so this isn't just a cute little hobby vineyard, right? We're talking 1,500 Grenache vines, 1,200 Grenache Blanc. They're producing 12 to 15 tons of grapes a year.
Seriously? That's a lot of grapes.
Yeah, no kidding. So in the phone calls, the owner, Keith, mentions he's selling these grapes to a winery. But he also talks about maybe turning a storage barn into a whole winery and tasting room.
Ooh, that's what caught my attention, too.
Imagine you could go from selling grapes to making your own wine. And Grenache Blanc is getting pretty popular, especially with California cuisine. Plus, with the vines already there, you're basically ready to go.
Okay, I am so on board with this. And then there's that ADU, right? What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, the ADU. That's a smart move. Could be a guest house, a home office, even a rental. It just adds so much flexibility to the property.
Yeah, I like it. So we've got luxury living, potential wine business, extra space. It all sounds amazing.
Now, in 2024, it's valued at $11,118,771.
Wow.
And get this, there's a whole caravan of realtors scheduled to see it on Wednesday the 15th.
A caravan? Wow, okay. What do you make of that?
It sounds like he's trying to drum up some serious interest, maybe even spark a bidding war.
Okay, so we've got this luxury villa, the vineyard with all its possibilities, and a seller who seems pretty eager.
Sounds like a great opportunity for the right buyer.
It really does. But before we get too carried away, we should take a closer look at the financials and how this estate compares to others in the area. We'll do that in our next segment. Stick around, there's so much more to unpack.
Can't wait, this is getting good.
Sunrise over vines we treasure, grapes in rows, they dance with pleasure.
Okay, so welcome back. We left off with this question, Aritas. Is this Cool Valley Vineyard Estate a dream come true or a potential money pit?
A good question.
Yeah, I think so. And to answer it, we got to look deeper into the actual financials, see how this stacks up against other places.
And it's not just about the raw numbers, right? We got to factor in the unique stuff like the vineyard and that ADU. Those add value. That's hard to just put a price tag on.
For sure. Okay, so the county records, they say the estate's value is $11,118,771 for 2024. But is that really what it's worth?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. So to get some perspective, we looked at similar properties in Valley Center that have sold recently. What did we find?
Okay, so within like a mile radius, we saw our range, you know. A three-bedroom from 94 went for $765,000. Then there was a big six-bedroom estate built in 1980 that sold for $1,290,000.
So it's all over the place.
Kinda, yeah. But on the surface, Cool Valley seems right in line, maybe even on the higher end.
But those other places don't have vineyards.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so interesting. Think about it. You're not just living there. You could be walking through your own vineyard, maybe even making your own wine.
That's the dream. Okay, but let's be practical for a second. How would someone actually turn this vineyard into a moneymaker?
All right, well, there are a few ways to go about it. The current owner, Keith, he's been selling his grapes to a winery. That's always an option. But remember that phone call where he talked about the storage barn?
Oh yeah, the winery and tasting room idea.
Yeah. That's where things could get really interesting.
It got me thinking, what would it actually take to do that? Like, would it be worth it?
That's the big question. First, there's the cost of converting the barn, right?
Yeah.
Getting all the equipment, the licenses, permits, it adds up. But then think about the potential. You could control the whole process from grape to bottle, create your own brand.
Yeah, and you're already in the California wine market. Plus, there's that whole agritourism thing, right? Wine tours, events, maybe even overnight stays in that ADU.
Multiple income streams for sure.
It's a lot to consider.
It is. But even if someone's not into the whole winemaking thing, that vineyard still adds value. Those vines, the possibility of home winemaking, the connection to the land, it's hard to put a price on that.
Okay, so the vineyard's a big plus. We've talked about a lot of good stuff, but we got to be realistic too. What are some of the challenges with this property?
Well, managing a vineyard is a lot of work. You need to know what you're doing, and you got to be willing to put in the time and effort. And if you're thinking about making wine commercially, that's a whole other level of complexity with permits and regulations.
True. And there's that realtor caravan coming up. What does that tell you?
It tells me he's ready to sell. He's not waiting around for just any offer. He's trying to get multiple offers and maybe even start a bidding war.
Interesting. So what stands out to you the most about all of this?
Honestly, it's that mix of luxury and opportunity. This estate offers a really amazing lifestyle, and it could be a really smart investment. It's not often you find a property that appeals to both your heart and your head like this.
I agree. It seems perfect for the right person or family. But what if it's not about finding the right buyer for this specific property? What if it's about finding the right property for a specific buyer with a certain vision?
Ooh, that's a good way to look at it. It flips the script and makes us think about who's out there looking for exactly what this estate offers.
Yeah, someone who's got the passion, the dream, and the resources to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's a retired CEO who wants a new challenge, or a young entrepreneur who's always wanted to be a winemaker.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a family who wants to create something that will last for generations.
So many possibilities.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this part, we want you to think about that. If you could match this estate with the perfect buyer, who would it be? What would their story be?
It's a great question to think about. And in the last part, we'll dive into those possibilities even more and see what else we can learn from all this information.
From the dawn till evening glow, in this vineyard love will grow. Taste the joy as rivers flow. From the vines our stories show.
Okay, so welcome back. We've explored this Cool Valley Vineyard estate, all the fancy stuff, the winemaking potential, the whole financial picture. But now I kind of want to shift gears and talk about the story behind all of this. What can we learn about Keith, the owner, and what could the future hold for this place?
That's what I love about these deep dives. It's like we're putting together a puzzle, right? From the county records, we get the basic facts, the dates, the value, the refinances. It's all there, but it's just numbers.
It's like a bare bones outline.
Yeah, exactly. And then we add those listing descriptions with all that flowery language.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're not talking about square feet, we're talking about sophistication and unparalleled tranquility.
It's a whole vibe.
Totally.
We've laid it all out, the facts, the potential, the risks. Now it's your turn to imagine yourself in this whole setting and see what clicks.
Yeah, what feels right.
Exactly.
Is this the spot for a new winemaker to make their mark? Or is it more of a family retreat, maybe with some rental income on the side?
Or maybe something completely different. What about a writer's retreat? Or an art studio? Or even a wellness center?
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
I know, right? It's really exciting to think about. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Cool Valley, here's what we want you to take away. Don't just think about what this property is. Think about what it could be.
Yeah, let your imagination run wild.
Exactly.
Hmm.
What dreams would you chase with those vineyards? What stories would you create in that beautiful villa?
And who knows, maybe this deep dive has planted a seed for something amazing down the road.
Maybe. But for now, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep searching for those hidden stories that make the world so fascinating.
That's what it's all about.
From the dawn till evening glow, in this vineyard love will grow. Taste the joy as rivers flow. From the vines our stories show. Under